Welcome back, Ticats pregame presented by Active Green and Ross. Louie B alongside Andy Fantuz. Ticats still about 45 minutes away from kickoff against the Calgary Stampeders. Sun starting to set over the Tim Hortons field here, and a beautiful night for football. It's a big game, and here to discuss that, we have some pregame salutations. Coach Sal, John Salavantis, joins us at the Ticats Audio Network desk. Coach, beautiful night for football, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great night for football. I was hoping it would be hot and steamy here and make the Albertans a little uncomfortable, but no, it turned out to be a great night.
Coach, what was your favorite time to play during the day? Do you like the 1 o'clock, the 4 o'clock, or the 7 o'clock, if I'll give you three options?
Football was a game that was meant to be played under clear blue skies in the afternoon, so that the evening could then be a celebration of the day.
That's well said. Let's take a look at this Ticats team coming off a loss against the Toronto Argonauts 1 week ago. I mean, that's a tough loss to bounce back from.
One of the things I take away from that game in Toronto, the week before, and we've talked about this with the Ticats offensive line having problems. The Ticats went into that game thinking that they could dominate the offensive line for Toronto. When you're a professional football player and you've been put behind the 8 ball, you come out fighting the next time out. And I thought the Toronto offensive line took it to the Ticats. Their run game was excellent. They were able to double team, get up to the linebackers, screen off the linebackers, get a good run game going. I think tonight, what I'm looking for in the Hamilton offensive line is the same kind of a rebound. They need a good football game tonight.
Yeah, the Ticats certainly did not match the intensity of the Argonauts early on last game, and that'll be a big factor tonight, I think, as well. What do you see from the Calgary Stampeders, even though they have a 2-4 record? What do you see in that team? And they have a high-octane offense, and their defense isn't a slouch either. What do you see, and what do you expect?
And let's also mention their special teams. We think Mark is one of the best special teams coaches in the league. He'll match up with Jeff Reinbold in that area. But what I see out of the Calgary Stampeders is a 100-1 shot. Okay. This will be 101 games that Mitchell has started. Wofford will start his first game tonight. So, it's an uphill battle. But like we talked about, the Ticats need to come out fighting from the beginning. Get up on these guys right away. If they win the toss, I would like to see them take the football. Move the football down the field. Keep Mitchell on the bench. That's the only way you're going to beat Bo Mitchell in any ball game, is to keep him off the field.
Looking at David Watford coming into this, and I've said throughout the week, he's not some guy coming off the street. This is a guy who backed up Dane Evans for 12 games, including 2 playoff games last year. Wasn't here, has only been here the last few weeks, but this is a guy who knows the playbook. That being said, would you expect Tommy Condell to maybe shrink the playbook a little bit, get some different looks with a different style quarterback, or do you think it's more of, this offense, you've been in the room, go out there and do your thing?
Well, there's 2 trains of thought when you approach it that way. If you're going up against a blitzing team, there's 2 ways to manage it. One, you block them. We tried to do that last week in Toronto. It didn't work out as well. The second way is to spread them out right across the field and take, shots down the field. I think tonight, in watching some of the practice time, there was not a lot of 6-man blocking schemes. I see some 2-back offense in there with Bennett and Irons tonight. And maybe then flanking one of those guys out or putting that guy in motion to see if they're playing man or zone on the outside. So realistically, I think Tommy Condell's got to go in with 2 game plans. One for the blitz package and one for a zone type package.
Yeah, you certainly can't blitz more than 6 people if you got 6 receivers out there or somebody's wide open. And I like what you said about that too, because I think that gives a chance for Watford to make quick reads, and get the ball out of his hand and find some rhythm. And then if he is able to buy a little bit of time, take some shots downfield. So I think that's a great approach as well.
Well, Andy, you're absolutely right, because the key is, if your offensive line's having trouble, get the ball out of your hands quick. The more receivers you can put out there, the quicker you can get rid of the football, the easier it is to read if there's an extra man coming. You know, we always say, we got 5 blockers, we'll take care of those. Quarterback, you got number 6.
I'm looking, yeah, I agree. I'm looking to see some of our playmakers get the ball in open field. Other than Frankie Williams on some of his return game, we haven't seen a lot of that typical Ticat yak yards and that excitement that really gets the crowd into it. You got the entire offense running downfield and making blocks and really turning nothing into something. I really want to see that. It's something I think I've been missing so far this season from the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and I think that brings us to Brandon Banks. When the Cats don't have Brandon Banks in the lineup, they're 1-6. He's the guy that gives you that kind of a feel. I think the 2 White boys tonight, Pappy and Tim White, I think those 2 guys have to be able to get what you're talking about. Last game, Dunbar didn't get many balls thrown his way. They need to get the ball in his hand. He's a big guy who can break some plays.
I talked about this with Jalen Acklin and David Ungerer throughout the week, and Ungerer had said that Tommy didn't bring him aside, but he kind of mentioned, you're a veteran in this league now, and when you look at that receiving group, we mentioned it yesterday, 23 games played, Jalen Acklin, the most experienced receiver on this group. That being said, having that scout team experience, Ungerer, Watford, do you think Watford finds someone early and kind of finds that connection and sticks with it?
A lot of times a quarterback will find that in a game. He doesn't go in with that particularly in his mind, I'm going to take care of this guy, because if he does, he's now pointing his ball at a particular receiver, and you don't want him to do that. But most times a quarterback will find success with a particular player, and he'll stick with that guy throughout the ballgame.
Yeah, sometimes that's based on matchup or defensive scheme, but you are gonna get the ball into some of those big playmakers' hands and find a way if they are stale after a while. But going back to the previous point of getting someone in the open field, well, Calgary's a professional team and they're getting paid too, so it's not like they're just going to leave somebody open. So I think spreading the ball around, getting Unger, getting Dunbar, getting Pappy and Tim White, getting Jalen Acklin, everybody in the mix will help free some guys up and create some confusion. You can't just be going to 1 or 2, 3 or 3 people. You need to spread it out, and we need to have 6 or 7 receivers catching the ball.
Which I thought we saw when Watford came into the game. I mean, let's give Watford credit. He did march the ball down the field. Sean Thomas Erlington finished off the drive with the 20-yard touchdown run. But, I mean, he, after a couple of shaky throws, he did finish with 6 completions for 78 yards. And again, he's not some slouch off the street.
You're right. And talking with Andy, we know we're talking receivers because that's his forte. You've got to have a running game.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to run the ball. Earl last week carried the ball 4 times in that ball game and had 2 receptions. That's not good enough. You've got to be able to press those guys up front. You don't want Lemon and that Stephen Banks coming off that edge out there and Wiggins in the middle causing you problems. So you've got to be able to run the ball and make them honest.
Yeah, give the O-lineman some love. Let them just get off the ball and go smash some heads, right? So get a push, get into the game, get some rhythm. I couldn't agree with you more, Coach.
So would that come with those little screen passes, the little quick hitches? What would you kind of to get using the run? And we've seen them use the run creatively. We've seen them use the run on those little kind of handoff passes we've seen. Do you think that kind of translates to get, like you say, to get Tim White or to get Pappy White involved on plays like that? They might not be runs per se, but they're run-like.
Yes, they are. And you've got Revenberg who can get out on that edge and block that outside person on the screen. I think you need to have those kinds of screens. One of the screens that I think would be very effective tonight would be if you could get Kalinic in the ball game and get a little tight end screen right over the middle. That holds that middle linebacker. He now has to think every time Kalinic is in the ball game, this may be a screen coming my direction in the middle of the field. So therefore, he doesn't get his normal drop.
I want to see the Tiger Cats leaving it on the field tonight. Like, I want to see effort, visually see and hear effort out there. I know, you always know that they're not giving up. They're not. Last week they kept fighting, but even from the very first whistle, I want to see that effort of sprinting to the ball, finishing plays, getting excited, having fun with each other, because that's when it becomes a full team effort and complementary football and a better result.
Coach Sal, before we let you go here, I just want you to answer this very simple question. The Ticats will win this game if
they can protect their quarterback, and if the quarterback disperses the ball out of his hands quickly and gets it into their hands. And we sit here under Moscow's banner, and the defense has to contribute tonight to help out that offense, and that means takeaways.
Well said. Coach Sal, always appreciate you joining us.
Welcome.